We shall, it does matter. Okay, today is Wednesday, October 9th, and we have Philly presenting his midterm, who will tell us what he's presenting, and I will get out of your way, I promise you. If you could put your computers to sleep, that would be terrific. Be appreciative. And okay. Okay. It's all yours. You present your midterm.
Okay. So, I'm Philly, and I decided to do my midterm on raster baiting or tile printing, which is a better name and you get less weird looks. So, is it okay if I use this picture right here? Like, I don't know what it looks like a pony?
So you're going to print for us? You just need to tell us you just need to tell us your print setup rather than printing.
Okay.
You don't need to print.
Okay.
Because that'll be too long and too many weird things happen when we print things. Trust
Okay.
me.
So the first thing you do is, I did it in InDesign. There's different ways of doing it. And you just open up a new page, I guess. And I figured, oh, it's already in inches on this one. On my computer, the size wasn't on inches, so I had to like do the math and figure out how many points per inch it was, and I got 6. But you just choose the size that.
Picas per inch. Picas. The P's for picas.
Oh, is it?
Points.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
There's 72 points per inch.
Points and okay. So if you're gonna do you can give me a second. You can use towel printing for different things. One of the funnest things that I saw was instead of painting canvases, people would just print it out and paste it on. And a regular size, an all right size canvas is I think it was 24 by 30. So you could just put the size in and 30, and it opens it up. Oh shoot. Well, I was gonna do it in landscape. Let's do it again. It's all being recorded.
Yeah.
Okay. And here we go. And you just place any image. I think we're using the pony one.
It was up.
Say when. Oh, there it is. Got it right there, and I think it was to the frame. That's not the frame, is it? Then it was. Now, can you give me 1 second? Is there a reason it's not doing it?
Can I help you?
Please?
Okay. Get to your black arrow
Okay.
and click off the pony. Stay in the black arrow and click on the pony.
Okay.
Not the center of the pony, but just so it's active. And now it will work for you. You were dealing with contents
Gotcha.
instead of the object itself.
Okay, so that's the frame?
Now you're in the frame, right?
Okay.
Okay, and because I want nobody to do this, always keep things proportionate when you enlarge them. So you've distorted it. So go to fitting. You're really good at your fast keys. Go to fill the frame proportionally.
Fill frame.
At the button. There you go.
And that looks a bit off?
Well, because you cropped it. It's filling the frame proportionally. You can have it fit the frame proportionally.
Okay.
If you want.
Okay, well, if you got this far, then you can mess with it. But then then when you're gonna print it, you go to print, and you go to setup, and you just click on tile printing, and right there's a different like pages that it's gonna print, and you print it, you cut it the way you want it, and you do whatever you want with it, I guess.
And will that print the size of the 24 by 30? Like each page will be 20?
No, it's this is like it'll be printed paper size, and you can like cut it and glue it.
Well, you could dictate, hang on, keep going, look on your page. On your paper size, he specified letter size paper.
Okay.
If you have tabloid paper in your printer, you can specify tabloid paper in that pull-down menu, Philly. Why don't you show them that? See, you can
Yeah.
specify any paper size you want based on your printer. So if it's a tabloid printer, you can have tabloid paper.
So if you have tablet paper, it'll tile it appropriately.
We'll change it right now to tabloid paper unless you're on the letter size printer, so you don't get that as a choice. So get out of this dialog box, select the printer up above, which says tabloid. Now use the pull down menu, show tabloid. See how you got less squares? Okay. Is there anything else you want to add to it, Philly?
Just an easier way of doing it. That would be off of InDesign, but we don't have to. Like
That
there's
would
a way.
not be in design?
Yeah.
Okay, well let's stay with InDesign and then you can
Okay.
show us the other way too.
Well, no, that's it. And then there's a website that does it for you automatically.
Okay, hang on, hang on.
Okay.
hang on. So any more questions about how to do this in InDesign? Don't leave this window yet. No? Okay, what I want to call your attention to is the bottom right corner where it says overlap.
Oh, right here.
Right there, it says that each page is going to have an overlap. Does that say 1.5 or 3.5? I can't see.
One and a half.
Okay. So, so what it means is each page is going to overlap another page, an adjacent page, by 1.5 inches. So you have an overlap. It's not like you butt up your seams. You're going to have overlap. So that's good because that way you'll make sure that you'll be able to align things appropriately. So that's about it. Any other questions about this? Okay, then Philly, show us the website that does it for you.
Okay. I think it was this one. Yeah. On this one, you can upload your own photos or use theirs, and it's pretty easy, I guess. And for this one, like it'll show you, like it'll compare, like that's the thing. You guys can't really see it, but right here, there's a person, and like you can choose how wide it would be, and it'll like get bigger and smaller. See, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a dude right there, and that's how like big it would print.
So much fun.
Yeah, and I think they had a limit to it. I think it was like 100 sheets. That was the biggest you could do. Yeah, but like if you want to do 8 sheets wide, and like you have black and white, single, and then multicolor, and right here would be 64 pages, and you guys can donate money to this dude, and it'll save it as a PDF so you could print it anywhere. And
So it's breaking it into a PDF for you?
yeah, like you can, it'll save it for you, or it'll.
Can you save it for us, please?
Pretty sure. I've never actually saved it. Yeah.
Help, please.
Then, yeah, it's a bit pixelated, but that'd be pretty like tall, I guess. And you just have to figure out which one goes where.
How'd you find this site?
I was really into wheat pasting in high school, and this seemed easier than going to Kinko's and like printing like a really big one. Like you could get a pretty big one, like pretty big image right here for like less than $2 at Kinko's, as opposed to going and getting like huge piece of paper that ends up ripping on you. Yeah. I think that's about it. Any questions?
No, that's great.
No?
Thank you.
Alright.
That was very useful.
Definitely learned.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Who's next?
All right, so I'm Craig, and my midterm was retouching photos. Like, so if you take a picture that someone has like a red eye or something, you can get rid of it.
Scary babies.
All right, so now that you have a photo, you go in Photoshop. Alright, so now that you have Photoshop open, you want to open the photo that you took or downloaded. And in the toolbar, there is a tool called the red eye tool. And what that does is it goes and looks at the red eye and will try to do its best work to eliminate it. And as you can see, she does no longer have red eyes. And the second thing you can do is if someone took a picture and they have acne, you can use a tool called the clone stamp. Let's try to find a good one. We'll just use that one. Oops. So you open up that file, which I forgot.
First one, November.
On top of it.
And so what you do is you grab the clone stamp tool and you press and hold Alt to grab like a location, and it will use that location to cover it up. And you just keep doing that until all of it is either gone or as good as you want it to get. And as you can see, it's not as bad as it was before, but if you spend more time on it, it will become a lot better to look at. And yeah. And that's it.
And don't go away, don't go away. Okay. Do you have more to share, Craig?
There is one thing you can do, which is called the content aware tool. So say you want to have this better, and I just grab the elliptical marquee tool. And once you have a selection, you right click and go to fill. And
Why don't you move that to the side so we can see it?
and in this drop down box, you choose content aware and click OK. And Photoshop does its best to try and make it as good as it could automatically.
Any more there? Yeah.
No.
Okay, don't go away from this either. So are there questions for Craig?
the content for where, what did it choose from to cover that up?
I guess it chose from nearby, like
Just around it?
yeah, just around it, and it kind of predicts on what it is going to look like.
Where you found the red eye tool, there's something like a spot healing.
That's what I was gonna say.
You
Or the
see-
Band-Aid.
you see spot healing?
Healing brush.
Sorry, no. Well, there's a patch one that's really good.
Try the first one.
Oh, spot.
And I think the spot healing one, make your brush a little bigger. Perfect. Oh, it's monster big. Okay.
Whoops.
What do we do? We get something different. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you may have to do Alt like you do on the clone tool. I can't remember. But if you click Alt and pick the area you wish to emulate, what does it say?
Spot healing brush tool automatically samples pixels to correct a spot with one step.
Okay.
You don't need to press
Okay, so you don't need Alt. So
Yeah.
hit Continue. So just now blend over the red, and it's gonna make a big circle over the whole red, and it's gonna pick up. Okay, it's gonna pick up the surrounding areas, and it's gonna kind of balance it out a little more, which is another way to retouch. Find red spots and see. Just go for it. Frank.
Also, the patch healing brush is pretty cool. Or it's not, it's a patch
Yeah.
tool.
You're pressing Alt.
We didn't need to press Alt for this. We're just covering over. And it's picking up the surrounding areas, and it's kind of finding a happy medium between what's on the left side and the top and the bottom and the side. It's kind of, what'd you say?
Greg's having a fun. That's really good.
Yeah, he's just, it finds the surrounding area and it balances it. It kind of blends it all, which is another way to retouch something. And probably, since your topic, Craig, is retouching, I'd probably end up using all the tools that Craig is showing you. And then if I wanted to balance her skin tone and get maybe some of that highlight off her cheek to balance her skin tone, then when I'm all done with this, I might, for example, pick a skin tone balance I like and then airbrush over her with a very, very, very light opacity until I start to get a little bit of smoothness and softness.
There's a, or to take out the red too, you can, color replacement, is it? What was that tool you used? It, like, you pick a one softer color and then it'll go, you can paint on with a color and it,
Replaces all the red,
yeah,
red
replaces
stuff.
the red with what the.
Do you know how to demo that?
I can try to figure it out. I think I can remember it.
Okay. But let's see if Craig's done. You done, Craig?
Yeah.
All right, are there more questions for Craig? That was really useful, Craig. That was great. Don't get rid of that photo. Leave it for Katarina. Okay, Katarina, go see if you can pull that one up.
We did it in the math class. Let's see. Color replacement tool. So I would say you have to pick Alt, maybe this color. Let's do this color. Just kind of red all over. And then, as you can see, that color is not really.
So it's reducing, it's desaturating the red is what it's doing.
Yeah, so you just really have to find a
Try
good.
the part up by her, like ear. Yeah, look right there.
Yeah, maybe like.
It's a little bit more pinky fleshy.
Yeah, kind of. Anyways,
It's a weird, like, yellow highlight, so that's why it's probably
you have to get the right color, but once you do, and then what I really like to do is, you could do a new layer and do a blur and surface blur.
Yeah, that makes all of us look pretty.
I know, let's see, to duplicate this layer.
Surface blur is magic. I've taken years off my life by surface blur.
And then,
Surface blur with black and white is really good.
surface blur here, and let's do it. Oh,
Just
shit.
watch your face as it changes. It softens everything. It keeps the tonal colors.
And what I would do is create a mask for for that, and then double click, invert the mask, and then take your brush tool, and I think white will paint on the mask. Is it painting it on? Or
Yeah, it is.
it is. Oh, it's because it's, let's see, you can turn up the flow. Is it doing? Oh yeah, here we go. You can see it more over here. And then only because you don't want her eyes to be blurry or her lips.
So you're painting, let's tell everybody what you're doing. What Katarina's showing us is she's creating a mask for only the areas that she wants blurred, and the areas that she doesn't want blurred, she's
Her
not
eyes, like
painting.
even her nose, I messed up. So I could go back with the black and take away, you know, maybe switch it.
So if you look at the little mask on the layer panel, you'll
See
see
right
she's
here.
creating a mask of areas that she wants to show and not show with the blur.
And you kind of have to be careful because you can tell. So I usually, if I get this going, I'll then reduce the opacity down. She needs a lot of work, but as you can see, if you had like, if it was just a normal photo and you wanted to just add a little bit of surface blur, then once you get it on a good threshold, you can reduce the opacity layer and make it so it's not as obvious.
Mhm.
That's my funnest tool.
Yeah, Miranda?
I was just gonna say, could I show everybody the patch tool because it's also a really good photo
Yeah.
retoucher.
Show away.
I
Thank you, Katarina.
really like the surface blur tool.
Yeah, me too.
And I like painting it on with a mask. I think that looks better.
Okay, so. Oops.
So tell people what you're doing.
Okay, so I'm just gonna create a new layer. I'm gonna duplicate this one so I can work on it because I don't want to mess up the bottom one. Okay, and then in the left-hand toolbar, I'm gonna go over to the stamp. No, actually, the patch tool I think is in here. Yeah, okay. I'll click on the patch tool. This one's kind of tricky, but I think it's really fun. So what you want to do is you want to select the area that you want to change, and then you're going to drag it over to a good area. So I'm going to pick this, and then watch what happens as I move it over. So you're trying to find a group of skin that's like better than the original part, and then you just release and go to deselect, and it kind of fixed it. So we could do it again. So just draw around the part that you want to fix. You want to click on the inside and drag it either this way or this way, just looking for
Drag
better.
it to her eye.
Her eye.
Yeah, I want to see what happens. So
Cute.
I want to see. No, I want to see what it's doing. So it's doing a similar thing to the spot blending tool.
Yeah.
Which is it's finding the balance between the eye and the skin that's there,
Mm-hmm.
and
It kind of blurs it a little
it's
bit.
creating a halfway visual for it.
Yeah.
Which is why it blends.
Let's see. If we zoom in a little bit, we can see that the eye is considerably darker versus the part that it blended on the skin. It's a little bit more opaque. I don't know. I like this tool a lot. I think it's fun because you can kind of go crazy and it's really quick. You just boop. You can take this part, which you already did, drag it over here. And even like her little freckle bits and stuff are changing, which I think is kind of cool. Now, if you do have it where there's like a big highlight and a big shadow, it's going to change. So if we pick like over here where there's the shadow of underneath her eyelid and drag it to like here, it's going to do a, oh, actually it didn't do that weird, but usually it makes like the side that would be where the divot of her, underneath her eye is, it would be really, really dark and really obvious, but yeah, it's not
Okay,
very good.
questions for Miranda? Okay, thank you, Miranda. Okay, so we are left with Ed and
We can
Sam.
keep going. We didn't even do dog and bird yet.
I know.
We didn't even do general brushes.
Okay,
This poor
hello.
woman had no idea when her credit was.
Poor lady.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't really need any of this, so
You need it.
minimize it or something.
You can get rid of it.
Hey, it looks
Oh.
better.
It
Yeah.
does. I feel so bad for her. That looks
Except for
really
the eye on
painful.
her nose.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Little accessory.
I'm gonna show you how to do 3D objects. What am I doing? In Illustrator. Where do I?
Then the
This one,
application flow.
yeah. No, just didn't see it. I apologize in advance. I'm really tired. Okay, so it's opening. I was supposed to do it in Photoshop, but after like looking at all these tutorials online and like things that I wanted to do, I realized my version of Photoshop didn't have the tools that I needed, which was kind of a bummer.
What version do you have?
I have CS6, but I don't have the 3D extensions that I needed for some reason. I don't know why.
You wanted to go crazy.
Yeah,
Is what you wanted.
I wanted to show you how to make 3D objects using inflation, but anyways, there's a simple way, a much simpler way to do it in Illustrator. So I can make a new. Doesn't really matter. Whatever we're working with. Okay, so you can do any shape you want. Usually I don't have a fill or a stroke. I mean, I have a fill of some color. Let's do kind of. There we go. And you can make a shape with the pen tool, like a circle, or just any shape really. Let's do like a teardrop, I guess. You go to Effect 3D. You can either extrude or bevel it, which will basically make it like a little button shape off of a surface, and you can use this square to kind of.
I'm sorry, Ed, can you move that to the side and turn
Yeah.
the preview window on?
Okay.
Preview's in the bottom left corner.
So yeah, you can move this. You can rotate it around, see what you like. Whatever you're doing. You can adjust the extrusion, which is how thick it's going to be. So you can make it really thick or flat. Any increment in there. And just hit OK and it'll do it. You can make, you can that. I can show you how to make an apple shape too. Kind of go like that. Go like that. And you just need half of it for this. What you do is you go to Effect 3D, you go to Revolve. Preview. And it looks kind of funky right now, but we can fix that. Hit OK. And then you select your little paths and make a better looking apple. And yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it's just it's an effect. You can't like click on it and like rotate it as you could in like Photoshop, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, does anyone have any questions?
Could you do that with text also?
Yeah, you can do it with text.
Hang
You
on,
can
don't get rid of that yet, though.
do it with
Do it with text and keep that apple there.
Let's make it. Oops. Why did it do? I want the text to be blue, not the square. Anyways. Hello. Let's make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. Okay, so you select it. I'm pretty sure it's going to select this whole box now and make that 3D. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's move this. Okay. Let's make it a little bit less protrudy. There we go. So yeah, you can do it with text too. You can probably choose a better color to show that it's 3D. I don't know. So, there we go. And yeah, make it bigger. Oh, I didn't do that.
You try and make the type bigger.
Yeah,
You need to highlight your type with the type tool.
I see.
Now you just created a new type thing. There you go. So hit undo. There you go.
And then I,
If you hit Command T, a toolbox will come up for the size and type, or you can go to the top of the window there and change it.
okay. I'm not familiar with this.
You see it. You see it. Go down.
Or is it this thing?
Left. To the left. Yep.
Oh, the. Oops. There we go. Okay.
So, are there, don't go away. Are there questions for Ed regarding this? 3D tool is very cool. Yes.
Like, could he do the apple thing without the fill and just have it be the outline in 3D?
I don't know how that would work actually.
Like, did that question make
So like have the
Yes.
fill be red
Have the stroke be red.
or a stroke, I mean, and no fill.
So,
I didn't do
the
it.
answer is no.
No, it made the whole thing this color.
But one of the things you said is you can't do much with it. In order to break these down, if you click back on your apple, there you go. So it's active.
Mhm.
And you go to Object. This is where you're going to go. You go to Expand Appearance. There you go. What it does now, and if you hit Command Y, it goes View, and that changes to View Outlines. There you go.
Whoa.
So now you can see what it did. It created, who showed us a long time ago the gradient mesh tool? Was it you, Katarina? So remember the gradient mesh tool that Katarina showed us where she created highlights and color and so forth? That's essentially what this did for you. You're now viewing this in what's called outline mode. If you hit Command Y again, it'll be in image mode. And basically, like if you clicked, you know, that highlight is created through that gradient mesh. And that's what it did for you. And by expanding appearance, you now can't edit it the way you would in the 3D tool. Now you would be working with this.
Okay.
Pretty
Would
tricky.
it be kind of hard to edit it though?
Now, this way?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A little chaotic.
It'd be easier to just start with the original shape again and redo the 3D in a different, if you wanted to like change a color or something.
Yeah, you know what? Because look at all the colors. He has the apple
Yeah.
selected in the color fill now. Is a whole variety of color fills for all those gradients and so forth. So, yeah, I'd leave it on its own. Any other questions? Okay, Ed, thank you for that. Okay, and Sam, you ready? You want to do it?
I did like a or water reflection in Photoshop. Then I'm just gonna open that the pony picture because when you're doing this, you want it to touch the fill to the bottom of the page. It looks better. And but first thing you do is just duplicate this layer, and you do that by that's the so or you press Command P.
That's perfect.
Wait, Option.
Double click on it so it's a layer on the layer panel.
Yeah, that's what it
And
is.
you've
Okay,
unlocked it.
I see what you're saying.
We'll just drag the layer to the new page.
I know, but he must have something locked going on here. I can't figure out what's locked.
Yeah,
So,
maybe a different picture.
let me help you.
I think it has something to do with the
I can't
image.
see back there. Oh, I see what it is. It's because it's a GIF file. So let's change the file format for you. So we're gonna have to go from image mode, we're gonna have to get out of index color, which is a web browser color, and we'll go to RGB color. And now it's something that now you can work on and you'll be okay.
So you double click and then you can unlock your background, and you can make a duplicate layer by going down here, or it's either Command P or Control P. I'm like, yeah, that's it. But then all you need to do is, or then the next thing you do is go to Image and Canvas size, because you're gonna want to make it double the size that it is tall. So, and it shows you the width that you have and the height that you have, but you want to do this, the width is 0, or
You wanna leave the width the same size it is.
with the same size. Okay, my Photoshop is different for some reason. Then anybody off the top of their head know what double that is?
Just do 21.
21. And then you want to click the anchor so everything's pointing down, and then you click OK. And then you get an empty space right here. You take the first, or the duplicate layer, make sure it's selected, and then go to Edit, Transform, and you flip it vertically, and then it's just upside down, and then you take it down and you still have the other layer there.
Command 0.
Command 0.
Not Command O, but Command 0.
Oh,
There you go.
Okay.
Now it's your home page.
yeah. And you want to line it up so it looks like a reflection almost already, but then you want to make sure the bottom layer is the one selected, and you, or wait, no, you want to add a new layer first. Come over to the paint bucket and fill it with white, and then I come with this tool and drag it down so it's half, and then you go to filter and go to the filter gallery, go to sketch, halftone pattern, and you don't want it dot or circle, you want it to be line. And then the contrast, zoom down, the contrast makes like the lines look more, stand out more, or makes it like fuzzier this way. And for water, like, seems like you'd want that, and you can mess with the size as well, and just do it like that, and click OK. Can I change that color?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
undo a second. Undo, you'll do that again. Change your, you want your default of black and white, is that what you want?
Yeah.
The default of black and white's in the left corner, right under those fills, right there. There you go.
So I go to filter, filter gallery, and then get what you did before. Just a little shortcut, and then add some the opacity, make it a little see-through. Or like also, because this is a black and white image, I just chose black and white, but on a real photograph it kind of looks better if you use blue. But mess around with the opacity of the lines, then I just come through with the smudge tool and mess around with these lines so they get a little liquidier, and then change the size of pixels and all that. And you kind of just play with it to get it around. There was I couldn't find a good tutorial for this on this version, but the version before, so I kind of had to make up my own steps a little bit. But like there's like 15 steps in the other one, and I broke it down into like just a few, because it in the other way it didn't really turn out looking like water anyways. So,
Don't go away. Anybody have questions for Sam? Yeah. Why did he want to learn how to make a reflection? Well, because it would be really nice to take a photograph of the Taj Mahal and have it reflect in color. Right? So, hang on. So can we do something? Let's go look for the Taj Mahal. Let's Google it, okay, please?
mhm.
So, there you go. So, let's look for the Taj Mahal. Do you want me to help you spell it?
Yeah.
T-A-J
THA.
and space M-A-H-A-L. Okay. There we go. Images. Let's find a picture of the Taj Mahal. Find the one with the water right there.
This one.
That one. Let's grab it. Open it in Photoshop. You could just drag it to Photoshop. It might even open.
Oh, really?
Drag it down to the dock. Well, you did. There you go.
Oh,
Put it in there.
that went into InDesign.
This is InDesign. Let's close InDesign. Okay.
Okay, so
Drag it down to the dock where the icon is for the PS.
In the bottom.
The bottom. The little PS.
Okay.
See if it opens in there.
And
Okay, just drag it on your desktop.
yeah.
There you go. Okay, now in Photoshop, let's open it. Okay. And then why don't you cut the Taj Mahal in half, so you're getting rid of everything that's water now. Let's just crop it. You're right. Let's stay with the crop tool. Just not from the top, but from the bottom. Let's crop.
Oh wait, this. Okay, yeah, it's the wrong way.
Yeah. Keep going. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Now let's do your canvas thing that you did. You've already
Image,
shown us that.
campus size,
So you're gonna make it 20 high.
20, anchor down,
Okay. Tell us what you're doing as you do it.
and then I'm just gonna transform it again or flip it vertically. I transform, flip vertical, and then I don't know why that happened.
Because you have white. It's okay. Just hit your magic wand tool and let's get rid of that white.
Okay.
Okay, delete it. There you go. Then you can just move this up. There you go. All right. Now do your steps again for us, and we're going to try something else also.
So select that layer, filter.
Now, where's she making a white layer on top for us?
Oh yeah. Hitting my steps. There. Filter. Go to filter gallery and then it should remember what we did. So filter. But actually, make this one blue this time. See if that helps. Filter gallery. And then I just dragged this down so it just showed the half right there. And change the opacity. And come in with the smudge tool again.
And so that's how you're emulating what you saw in the tutorial that you didn't have
Yeah.
on your software. Okay.
Yeah.
So hit undo for a second for us. Let's try a couple things, okay? If you don't mind.
Where do you want me to go back to?
Go back to where that's white.
That's white.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the history panel. So,
The,
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want you to go back that far. Where are you going?
I
We're losing you. Okay.
Abort the
Okay.
mission.
So if you go to window
window.
and you open the history panel, there you go. And open it deeper. Let's see if you've lost everything yet. Where are you? So go down there until you have 2 Taj Mahals and 1 white layer on top.
This is the.
Yeah, it should be right there.
Yeah, so click on it. There you go. And pull it, go one below it where you move the layer. Down. Yeah, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one
All right.
has the blue on it though.
All right, so, all right, go back one. Go to the one above you where you just were, where it says, keep going up. There you go, yes. Try one above it, hand bucket, perfect. Okay, now pull it down, as you said. Or actually, don't pull it down.
Oh.
So go back to where you added the stripes under filter.
And then I went to clicked filter gallery.
Okay, and then you
Under
made
sketch.
stripes, right? Where are you? Where you had stripes? So let's
Line.
make your stripes spaced much wider apart. Do you know how to do that? I can't see from where I am. Size your stripes bigger, 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 bigger,
Bigger?
bigger. Yeah, lay it on us. All right, let's give it a try. I'm not sure where I'm headed with this, but let's give it a try. Okay, now move it down how you did.
You'd also just like remove the canvas space from there, but this is just my easier version.
Okay. Never gets us there, right? Okay, now go back to filter gallery.
I actually forgot a step. I completely forgot. Alright, what filter gallery?
No, you want to do your step?
I just forgot. When we have this one clicked, you go back to the filter gallery and you go to blur, and you add the Gaussian or Gaussian blur, and you mess with that so it makes it fuzzier right here on the border of the 2 pictures.
There might be one more step for you. Go back to filter. And go to, I forget which one it is. Well, let's just look at them. Let's go to blur. No, not these.
You want like the ripple, right?
Yep, that's what I'm going for. Go back to distort.
I think it's in render or
There it is,
stylize.
ripple.
Oh yeah.
Distort, ripple. Okay, now play with this. Watch it undulate. And try size and make them large. And now
You know,
try
much.
large. And then use your slider bar back and forth. Let's see what we get. It's not giving us what I thought it was going to give me.
You're saying instead of the smudge tool?
Instead of the smudge tool,
yes,
there's
it's-
something that makes it wavy and undulate.
Right.
That's all right, let's just play with it. Make them big and bouncy. It's really windy at the Taj Mahal today. There you go. Okay, say okay. Okay, so now we have crazy. And now, you know what? I'm thinking in the filter gallery there must be something. I play with this stuff, but change the opacity and let's see what effect we get. And actually hit multiply.
The normal.
Under your layer blending options, under the word normal. See, no, go back where you were. Normal, see the little normal? Try multiply and see what happens. Okay, so you get a little illusion of water. Try soft light. Where it says multiply, try soft light. Right. And there's something, somebody help me with where you can find ripple. Does anybody know where you find ripple? But there's a lot, I know what you're trying, and I know the tutorial that you looked at, and I'm not sure why you didn't find the stuff you needed. Let's keep it to go away.
Yeah.
Is there one in the filter gallery? So let's go to filter and let's go to filter gallery. And let's look for stylize.
Stylize is just the
Stylize.
blur.
No, let's try distort.
Yeah.
Ocean ripple, there we go. Ripple size, that's what I was thinking of.
Well, because
Okay,
it's
so
already prior
let's hit
ripple.
cancel. I'm sorry. let's go back to before I hit ripple and where you did Gaussian blur. There you go. And now we'll go to filter gallery.
Right, just
Filter gallery. Let's play with it. I like playing with it first. And what was it under? It was under distort. Ocean ripple. Now magnitude. That's what I was looking for. Magnitude. Make them big. Big ripples. Big waves. Ripple size. Try ripple size. Play with that. And change the magnitude. And do. And now do ripple size. Big. No, it's not doing it for us.
I know it's when you're talking about.
This is
There's
it.
one that-
One does this.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's give it a try. An ocean ripple is what we're looking for. It has to do, actually, it has to do with the size stripes you put in there. I know that. And there's tutorials out there.
Oh, it's good though.
Yeah, but you start to get it. And,
yeah, this size of stripes doesn't.
right. And basically, right, it's too stripy. But basically, you're starting to create this undulation here. And then if you do soft light or multiply, soft light, there you go. You start to get more of an illusion of it. And Philly, why would you want to do this? To make cool pictures. All right. Because sometimes you might decide that you have a cool shot of a building and you want to create the illusion that, let's say you take a great shot of the New York skyline and you want to have the illusion that the New York skyline is reflecting in the water. So this is how you do it if you can get the perfect shot. Actually, if you guys look at stock photography websites, you will find more people take their photos and do stuff just like this to sell their photos and make it look more romantic looking. So, anyway. So any more questions for Sam, who bravely created his own tutorial for us? Okay, great. And is that everybody? That is everybody, isn't it? Okay. Then, what time is it? We have an hour and 10 minutes?
Yeah.
How many people brought their textured project? Okay. Do you still have to print yours out, Alessandro? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's not done yet?
No, it's done.
It's done. Okay, want to put it up?
Who else wants to print?
Me. Anyone else want to print? I've got a couple people printing.
Come on over.
Okay, I'm going to pause this. Okay, we're in week 7 of the class, and I want to call your attention to where we're at with our projects and our lectures. I gave you a little assignment breather in week 7, mostly because I knew you all had your midterms to work on. And I think I mentioned this on Monday, that I want all of you to make sure to wrap your arms around these interactive assignments that we talked about. We demoed on Monday. Which was due on Monday as well? Was it? This one was. How many of you didn't get to this? Everybody got to it. Okay, we had time in class, right? It was, did we have time?
We just demoed it.
We demoed it in class, okay. Then you have another assignment, which you need to get your arms around. Things are slowly cooking here, which is the Warhol one. And all of this interactivity is very much about what's showing up in your portfolio, how you're going to create your portfolio. Your next assignment is going to be called, here it is, down here. It's called Figure Ground, and I'm going to introduce that to you on Monday to assure you that you have time to do all these interactive exercises and complete your midterm, so you don't fall behind. And the lecture I will give you today is on type. But if you look further, I just want to go over the rest of the semester with you. You have a project which is called Figure Ground. I'll introduce it to you on Monday. You'll have about a week to do it, and then we'll submit it. And a week is plenty of time for this next project. Let me not talk about it in abstracts. Let's just look at what it is. You're going to be working with type, and you're going to be working with positive, negative space, and letter forms, and your initials, and not distorting type, and just working with font and letter relationships using your initials. That's the assignment. So you can look ahead for it, but I'll introduce it to you later. And then after that project, we're going to continue to work with type when we work on a project called, I think, let's skip myself down here, which the next project is a color poster, which is about working with an image and type. So combining an image and type to communicate a message, enhance a famous person, place, or thing as your subject matter. Find a phrase of 1 or 2 words, 3 words at most, that would elevate the meaning. So if you're doing President Obama, your type wouldn't be Obama. You know, like that famous Obama poster that said hope, I think. Yeah, right. So you pick your word to elevate the message, and then the idea is that you would create a poster that has 2 separate color palettes, an identical poster, same artwork, and you shift the color palettes to see how it alters the feeling of what you're creating. That's your next assignment. You need to work large. It's a poster, so you're going to be working large on that one. And then we go further, and you have an exercise in animation. I saw somebody working on it, which is a rocket ship launching. It's just to learn about animation in Photoshop. And then you have a big project, which is on interactivity, which is called Telling a Story with Line, which is your first project where you start to use all this animation that you're learning in InDesign, where this project is, you tell a story with line. How you interpret that, ambiguous subject, intentionally ambiguous subject is up to you, but you're going to tell a story, which means a person gets to sit down at a computer, look at your digital file, which will either move or force them to turn pages or will play before their eyes, but you'll tell a story that will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And that's where you start to refine these interactive skills that you're learning in InDesign. You're going to be creating them through InDesign, or you can create them in Photoshop, which is why you learn some animation in Photoshop with that exercise. And all of those are to lay the groundwork for your skills when you create your portfolio. And you're going to be packed with these assignments. These are big. The telling a story with line assignment, I will tell you, is very time consuming. And I do think I give you a week or 2 to finish it. And then you have one final project, which isn't showing up here.
Final portfolio project?
No, here it is. I skipped it. The 2-page layout project, which is going to be based on some of the conversations we're having today about type, where we don't focus very much in this class on type. We don't. We focus so far on learning Illustrator, learning Photoshop, learning InDesign for placing graphics, but we haven't focused very much on how to work with type and make something readable and use the graphics you've learned to create to help communicate a story effectively, because it's all about the message. So this one becomes a crash course for those of you who don't work with type yet. Becomes a crash course in InDesign, working with page layouts, working with type, and considering headlines, subheads, body copy, and pull quotes, which I'm going to talk about today, and how to pick a graphic that makes what a person sees on the page before they read the text, compelling. Okay? So those are the projects you have in front of you for the next half of the semester, and they're large. And all the while you're doing these projects, you're going to end up starting to build your end of the semester portfolio. And I don't want to digress for the moment to go back to your portfolio, but I do recommend, like I showed you on Monday, to be sure to go to the portfolio link and start looking at people's portfolios and see what they presented. I'll try and update some of these have been around a while, and there's some new ones. And they're all very different. And what you'll notice is each portfolio is authentic to each designer. They don't look the same in any way, shape, or form. They behave differently, all of them. Some of them have animations in them. Some of them have buttons only in them. But they need to behave like a website. So I recommend that you poke around and think about what would be authentic for you to design for your portfolio. The idea is to showcase your work in something authentic for your style of what you've worked on all semester long, and to elevate your work so all the energy you put into it shows up. So let me move on to our type lecture right now, and then when you come back on Monday, you should have all of your exercises on animation. So you should have the Calder exercise completed, the Warhol exercise completed, and scroll down here to November 4 and do this fun little exercise, which is an absolute step-by-step tutorial on creating an animated GIF, which is what you're staring at here. And this is pretty straightforward. This is a link for literally creating this exercise. You download the files and you follow the step-by-steps. It is so well done for you that it walks you step by step through an animation, which is a lot of fun. Who finished this yet? Nobody? Okay, we'll get to that later. But this page here, animation used to be a full assignment in this class, and I realized it got deeper than the ocean, because Photoshop now does animation and video, and used to be that we only did these animated GIF files, which is this big fish swallowing the little fish, and this is a timeline animation done in Photoshop with different timing panels, and it was designed to be something you'd feel on a mobile phone, so it's the size of a mobile phone. These you work really small in. You work in web display for these, 72 pixels per inch and small. The size you see it on the screen is the size it's going to play at. And here's a student who did something called telling a story with line. If you know what an Etch-a-Sketch is, who doesn't know what an Etch-a-Sketch is? Everybody knows? Okay, fun, right? Etch-a-Sketch is fun. So this student did telling a story with line by creating 120 frames on her Etch-a-Sketch. She didn't really do it on her Etch-a-Sketch. She drew it in Illustrator one frame at a time, right? And created this animation. Same thing here. This is a Photoshop animation like the spaceship you're going to learn. And this is a photograph of working with animation timelines in Photoshop. And it got to be so deep, and the project got to be so big that I turned your telling a story with line assignment into an interactive project, because there's so many different ways to go. But there's here, right here is a link to how to make a stop motion film by just clicking photos and compiling these different images together one at a time to create a stop motion animation. And so there's tons of information here on animation, and I call your attention to it because if you're interested in it, would you join some of this, Martine? Who's doing animation in this class, or timeline?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So here are tons of support materials for you, okay? Tons of them. Meet the video timeline panel. This is a lynda.com video. Here's how to create animation, frame by frame animation. All of these are for you because you might choose to use them on your portfolio. But this becomes a class in itself, so I don't want to make you guys drown because there's so many things we cover, but they're all worth watching. Most of them are not time consuming. And here's how to just take a bunch of your photos, go stand at the ocean and click your shutter every second of the ocean going in and out, the birds flying in and out. Load all those frames in a sequence. Hit load in Photoshop. It's a super simple step. You load it, you stack them, you hit export. It's as fast as me describing it, and you have a video. 1, 2, 3, done. And so you get to explore this stuff, and that may be how you do your telling a story with line, which is why this animation sequence is here. This looks like a simple page, but if you miss this, yes, I want to learn more, you'll miss a lot of skills. But students were confused with all those choices, so I just honed down what you have to look at so you don't get too confused. Miranda, you had a question?
I saw that on the page that we were just on, it said an FLV file. Are we allowed to work in Flash, Adobe Flash?
No, don't work in Flash.
Okay.
Because you can convert your files to Flash,
Okay.
but don't work in Flash because I
That's
don't
what I
teach you
figured.
Flash.
No, I figured.
And
Just wanted to make sure.
yeah, don't, please. Any other questions come out of this? Looking ahead here? Okay, so if we come back here, we're now down to the end of the semester right here, where you start to do your final project and your portfolio. You have an essay coming up, and then there's no test for this class for your final. Your portfolio is it. You do have an essay called The Medium is the Message, and you do have an essay up here. Who keeps forgetting that at the very beginning of class we had this one called Public Art. Where is it? Here.
Keep going.
Assignment, communicating the message publicly, right? So don't forget those, okay? Did you forget those? But you won't, because I reminded you, right? Yeah.
What would you say was the next assignment that we have to do?
The next assignment you're going to work on, well, the next thing you need to be working on is making sure you finish the Calder exercise, making sure you finish the Andy Warhol exercise, right? Moving down here to the exercise in animation. And the next project on Monday is the figure ground, which I will introduce you to, okay? But what I'd like to talk about right now is type. And we have like 10 minutes of type here. Let me see what's important about type. This is a bigger lecture. So what I want to talk about type is this, without playing videos for the moment. When you start to think in terms of type, you need to consider, when you're working in design, let me just, what I want to do is this. Don't save. When you're working in design and you work with type, there are fonts that are Roman fonts and they're serif fonts, right? Like this, a Roman serif font would be like Times Roman. It's what you see in the newspaper. And serif fonts have tails on them, right? This is a serif. And this is a more formal font. It's used for newspapers because it's these tails, these serifs, these little tails here and here that help us read a line across a page. So if you look at newspapers, most often they're in a serif font because visually they help carry our eye across the page, particularly with dense text. If you get rid of the serif, the tail, you get a sans serif font. And a sans serif font would be something like Helvetica or Arial. And that eliminates the tails and that communicates something that's more contemporary, less formal. Times Roman is because it came from the Roman era when they chisel it in stone with the little serifs on it. A sans serif font communicates some more contemporary thinking. When you have a font that is a serif, it creates a sense of stability. It creates It creates a sense of stability. It creates a timelessness. If you're creating a logo for a bank, you're probably going to put it in a serif font because it creates a sense of stability and confidence. If you want something to communicate contemporary and forward thinking, you probably have something that is a sans serif font without the serifs. And right here, Let's get rid of that window. If you want something to feel handwritten, then you'd pick a font that would be scriptier. And fonts communicate a lot of things. And if we just look right here, by knowing the right font to use and then how to manipulate the fonts, like with that type exercise, you start to create an aesthetic with it. So let's just start with this poster. So Johan, take a look up here. This poster, what does it say? Right. Is there a G on that poster? No. So what takes the place of the G? Do you know what that's called? Yeah, so this is a sickle and this is a hammer, and those are symbols. Are you familiar with it? Those are symbols in Russia, which used to be symbolic. What is it on the flag for Russia? Yeah, okay. So, and the color palette is, red is a Russian color. So the designer thought, I can use simple, clean type and know when to put a letter, a character in there, and when to symbolically represent it. So because they use symbols of Russia, we immediately knew because it emulates a G, but we know the phrase, let my people go. Everybody knows that phrase. Is that common? Is that a common phrase? Internationally? Help me. Yeah? No? Alessandro, help me. It's not common to you. No. I think it's a biblical phrase too. Let my people go. It's when Moses led the Jews out of slavery from Egypt. Let my people go. And same phrase from communism, let my people go, right? Unshackle me. And so as a designer, the designer said, well, I don't need to put the G in there because it's a familiar phrase to most of us. And we can emulate it through the sickle and the hammer. And so Alana, on the left-hand side of the page, what do you see? What word?
A city.
Yeah, you see a city, right. Can you see that word?
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. And so what did the designer do with the type Chicago?
It's really hard to read.
Okay, what did they do to it?
Like made it go into the city.
Yeah, how do you do
Before it
that?
disappears.
How do you do that? So,
Um,
so-
like,
he created the illusion of it going
yeah.
down the street, right? Along the edge of big tall buildings, right? She's nodding. She's nodding her head. Okay. And then he took the type right here. He split the G in half. He sent it in that direction that way. Oliver is going to show us the perspective tool, right, Oliver? Yeah. He's going to show us how to do this. And then he made this G split and wrap itself around at a corner, right? Created an illusion of it by working with type. So when to use type in its, what I call sacredness, its perfect font, don't mess with it, which is what your next assignment is. Look at the type, don't mess with me, but make it beautiful in a relationship with another letter. Or when to not use type and emulate it, or when to manipulate type to elevate the message. I always say that manipulating type for the sake of it isn't very productive. If we look here, type isn't always, when you're a designer, type isn't always about fonts. There's an artist that went out and probably bumped into a lot of people as he walked down the street, right? Because he kept looking at the sky. And he looked at, again, talk about positive, negative space.
So
He looked at the negative space of the sky in a cityscape. And it was the relationship of buildings, or it's the relationship of four corners on a block standing smack in the middle of the street looking straight up at the big high rises that forms the X. Or this relationship here where the two buildings are juxtaposed by looking up to create the Z. And so type doesn't always have to be how you typeset something. I think that because we all grew up with computers at our fingertips, we think if we have to create type, we sit down at the typewriter, we sit down at the, did you hear that? We sit down at the computer and we just open a word processing application and we just put a font in there, type in there. Instead of thinking to ourselves, how can we create type? How can we create lettering that has more feeling or emotion? How do you make lettering that's not just typing something? How do you build something that has feeling to it? And it's not always just by typing. It's by creating letters of your own. There's this great website called Letter Cult, and here's like the best of 2009, because probably when I made this web page. But it's inspiring. It's inspiring to consider different ways to communicate. If I were making an ad about hamburgers, I probably wouldn't put the headline, you know, hamburger. I might just take a squirt bottle of ketchup and squirt it on the ground and spell it out with ketchup and then photograph it. Type isn't always something so straightforward. And, oh, here we go. Cheap Eats. There you go. Cheap Eats. And, you know, that could be done in Photoshop. You could paint that. You could use that plastic wrap filter in Photoshop and create those highlights on those letters. You could get that big, beautiful scripty type, roughen up the edges in Photoshop and use the tools, or you could get a big old squirt bottle of ketchup and practice a lot, right? But creating type that's interesting and enhances meaning is really important. And we are going to run out of time, so I'm going to continue this lecture later. But what I want you to start to do is look at type around you and look at examples of good type and bad type. And look at examples of ways that you could consider how to work with type. And then you might want to just play this video on your own. It's where you start to use type to create, tell a story. They're just using type. They're not illustrating anything with hand-drawn illustrations. They're just using letters and type to animate it. So anyway, have a good week. Accomplish all the rest of the stuff because you can see you have big projects in front of you. And I look forward to seeing you all on Monday.